Good morning, students. This is class 9 science lesson tissues. So today we are going to study about animal tissues. We have learnt about plant tissue in the last classes. Today we are going to study about animal tissue. So first of all, I'll tell you the classification, how these animal tissues are classified. See, as you can see on the screen, animal tissue are divided into 4 types. Animal tissues are divided into 4 types. First is the epithelial tissue. The second is muscular tissue, third is connective tissue, and the last nervous tissue. Epithelial, muscular, connective, and nerve cells. Then again, epithelial tissues are divided into several classes: squamous epithelial, cuboidal epithelial, columnar epithelial, ciliated epithelial, and glandular epithelial. First of all, we are going to study about epithelial tissue. See, as you can see on the screen, epithelial tissue, simple cuboidal. This is the picture of simple cuboidal epithelial tissue. First of all, I want to tell you that epithelial tissue is also called epithelium because it forms a continuous layer of cells on the entire body surface. It forms a continuous layer of cells on the entire body surface, and like the plant epidermis. Further, epithelium also forms a barrier and separates the different body systems. It forms a barrier between the different body systems. And the structure of epithelium tissue is it is a continuous sheet of tightly packed adherent cells. You can see the cells are tightly packed and they are close to each other. Can you see on the screen? They are tightly packed with no intercellular spaces. If intercellular space is there, it is very little, but usually it is absent. Then it protects. The main function of epithelial tissue is to protect the underlying cells from adverse environmental condition. It protects the underlying cells, means all the cells which are under the epithelial tissue, it protects them. Such as dryness, injury, chemical, pathogens, and it protects the cavities and hollow organs from mechanical trauma. So main function is protection. Then it works as a barrier also. Epithelium forms as an effective barrier and separates different body systems. Then exchange of material, permeability, it shows permeability also. Then absorption of water and nutrients also. Sometimes it acts as a secretory substance also. So first we'll study structure and function of different types of epithelial tissue. First of all, we'll study about squamous epithelium. First of all, we're going to study about squamous epithelium. Squamous epithelium. We'll study about squamous epithelium. Squamous epithelium, you can see in the diagram, this is simple squamous. Is it visible? Is it visible? This is simple squamous. It is made up of a thin layer of flat cells. See, you can see the cells. They are thin and flat cells. And cells may be smooth or irregular. And usually they are located. Where are they found? Inner lining of blood vessels. They are found in the inner lining of blood vessels, heart, alveoli, mouth, esophagus, and their function is also protective and selectively permeable. Then we'll study about cuboidal. See, this is cuboidal, simple cuboidal. See, cubes like, the cells are like cubes. They consist of cube-like cells which appear polygonal in section. They have a centrally located nucleus. See, this is the nucleus which is centrally located. And where are they found? They form lining of kidney tubules, duct of sweat glands, salivary glands, alveoli of lungs, thyroid vesicles, and germinal layer. And their function is they act like mechanical tissue and provide supports to the organ. They also helps in absorption, excretion, secretion. Then columnar. See, this is columnar epithelium. This is columnar. They act as columns, pillars or columns. Columnar epithelium consists of pillar-like cells which are taller than their breadth. See, they are tall, breadth is less. Simple. And where are they found? They are located in the lining of stomach, intestine, gallbladder, and oviducts. In these places they are found. Where are they found? Lining of stomach, intestine, gallbladder, and oviducts. And what is their function? They facilitate the movement of substances across it. Means they easily allow the movement of substances across them. And they also act as absorptive tissue. Then comes glandular epithelium. What is glandular epithelium? Glandular epithelium means they are specialized columnar or cuboidal cells which are capable of secreting substances. Glandular epithelium means they contain glands which are capable of secreting substances. Then comes ciliated epithelium. What is ciliated epithelium? They are also columnar or cuboidal cells which bear numerous protoplasmic threads or cilia on their free surface. They may be columnar or cuboidal having hairs or cilia on their surfaces. And they are located usually in fallopian tube, in the respiratory tract, that is trachea, bronchi. And their function is they move particles. They move particles or mucus over the epithelial in a specific direction. So this was all about epithelial tissue. I'll show you their functions in a chart manner. Just a minute. See. Yeah. See, this is a table. This is a table. This is a table. Different types of epithelium tissue: squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, columnar epithelium, ciliated epithelium, then glandular epithelium, and then stratified epithelium. Then one by one we'll study function of squamous epithelium. Single layer of thin flat cells arranged like tiles in a flow. I've shown you the diagram. Then their main function is protection, diffusion, exchange of material, and filtration. And they are located in the blood vessels, lining of the cavities, wall of alveoli, and nephrons, etc. Then cuboidal, the diagram which you have seen, cube-like in shape, single layer of cube-shaped cells. Function is mainly, their structure is like that of cubes, and their function is excretion, secretion, and absorption. And their location, where are they found? Germ cells of gonads, that is gametes and sperms and, just a minute, sperms and eggs. Then lining of kidney tubules, salivary ducts, pancreatic ducts. Then comes columnar epithelium, single layer of elongated cells. Their function is secretion, absorption, and protection, and found in digestive tract, that is stomach, intestine, bile duct, gallbladder, and excretory ducts of some glands. Then ciliated epithelium, single layer of ciliated tube or column shaped cells, and function is transport role through ciliary motion. They have cilia, so motion is through cilia and maintain flow of substances. And they are found in respiratory tract, oviduct, cavity of brain, and spinal cord, etc. Then glandular means they contain glands, cube-shaped secretory cells, secretion of enzymes, hormones, and other chemicals, lining of all types of glands. Then comes stratified epithelium, means many layer of cells one above the other. What does that mean? Stratified means when the epithelial cells are stacked over each other. Many layers of cells, one above the other, over a basement membrane, they forms a stratified epithelium. Their main function is protection. Main function of this tissue is to protect, and they are present in the skin, buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus, and eye, and urethra, vagina. So this was all about your epithelial tissue. I hope you have understood it. Now, the second type, just a minute. Now we will study about muscular tissue. We have studied about epithelium and the functions and location of these tissues. Now we'll study about muscular tissue. Muscular tissue is again of three types: voluntary muscles, constricted or voluntary muscle tissue, then smooth or involuntary muscle tissue, then cardiac or heart muscle tissue. Okay. So come, just let's see the diagram, types of muscle cells. Yeah. As you can see on the screen is visible to you. You can see on the screen all the three types of muscle tissue. All the three types of muscle tissue. As you know, muscular tissue constitutes the flesh of the body. A body flesh is made up of this tissue. They contain the muscular tissue may be long, cylindrical, and long cylindrical cells are called muscle fibers or muscle cells. When muscle fibers are present in bundle and are held together by connective tissue, they also contain contractile protein. This contractile protein is known as actin and myosin, and it is responsible for the contraction and relaxation of muscles. Now, what is the function of muscular tissue? Muscle tissue is a contractile tissue. It causes the movement of the body and its various parts such as arms and legs by contraction and expansion. They are classified into three types. There are three types of muscular tissue. We'll study one by one. See, the first one is skeletal muscle. They are known as skeletal muscles because they join the bones to each other. These muscles join bones to each other and are called skeletal muscles. Okay, see, you can see the cell. The cells are cylindrical, like cylinder, elongated, then multinucleated. You can see many nucleus. See, 1, 2, 3, many nucleus in one muscle fiber. They are multinucleated, and the muscle fibers do not branch. They are not branched. See, independently they are running. They are not branched, but they contain alternate light and dark bands. This is light band, this is dark band, light and dark bands. That's why they contain light and dark bands. That is the reason they are known as striated muscle fibers. They are known as, they contain alternate light and dark bands. Therefore, they are known as striated muscle fibers. These bands are also known as striations. So, we can give them three names: skeletal muscle fiber, or striated muscle fiber, or voluntary muscle fibers. Voluntary muscle fibers because they function with our will. They work under our will. That's why they are known as voluntary. If we want to move our hands, legs, then only we can move. If we don't want to move, we don't. These muscle fibers are under our control. That is the reason they are known as voluntary muscle fibers. Skeletal because they join bones with each other, help in movement of arms and legs, and the third, striated, because they contain light and dark bands. Other point, they are cylindrical, unbranched, multinucleated. Okay, now comes they are usually present in the arms and legs. Then we'll study about these. They are also voluntary muscle fibers are present in limbs, face, neck, tongue, etc. Then second, we'll study about smooth, involuntary or non-striated muscle fibers. See, this is smooth, involuntary and non-striated muscle fibers. You can see the cells. They are spindle shaped, tapering at the ends, thick in the middle. They are elongated, spindle shaped, have pointed or tapering ends. Then you can see they are uninucleated, means they contain only one nucleus. It is visible, only one nucleus. You can see only one nucleus over here. So we say that they are uninucleated. And these fibers do not have any striations. See, they are of one color only. They do not have any striations. So they are known as unstriated or smooth muscles. And where are they present? Because they do not function under our will. They are not under our will. They are not under our control. So they are known as involuntary muscles. and they are present in the internal visceral organs such as walls of stomach, esophagus, intestine, urinary bladder, blood vessels, irisophi, etc. Followed? Then comes the third, that is the cardiac muscle fibers, present only in the heart. These cardiac muscles are present only, they are confined only till in the heart. And these cardiac muscles are structurally similar to the skeletal muscles in the manner that they are striated and are composed of cylindrical, non-tapering fibers. See, they resemble skeletal muscles as they are cylindrical, and non-tapering, their ends are non-tapering, they are uninucleated, and unlike this fiber, they are cardiac muscles resemble both skeletal and smooth muscles. Like skeletal muscles, they are cylindrical and with striations, and like smooth muscles, they do not have any, they are uninucleated and they are branched. They are branched and uninucleated. So they show the characteristics of both these muscles. Further, cardiac muscles have densely strained bands called intercalated disc. So they are located only in the heart. They are confined only in the heart. They are involuntary muscles like smooth muscles and undergo rhythmic contraction and relaxation. They are responsible for taking in and pumping out of the pumping blood out of the heart to other parts of the body, and they contract, relax, and work continuously without any rest. They do not take any rest. So in the next class, we'll study, we will distinguish upon, we'll study a chart in which we will study the function and structure and the presence of all these fibers. So today we'll end over here. Thank you and have a nice day.